Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, my dear student. Now we are going to make simple revision about formation of salt. Then take the new lesson. Okay, listen to me carefully. Formation of salts. What's the meaning of a salt? Normal salt is a compound that has been formed when all hydrogen ion of an acid has been replaced by metal ion. This means salt. Again, salt was the meaning of salt. Salt is a compound that has been formed when all hydrogen ion of an acid have been replaced by metal ion. We can classify salts into type: water soluble and water insoluble. Water soluble and water insoluble. The first, the second point, the following salts are soluble in cold water. Soluble in cold water. All nitrate are soluble in cold water. All common salt like sodium, potassium, and ammonium. Again, all nitrate soluble in cold water. All common sodium, potassium, ammonium. All chloride except lead, silver, and mercury. All sulfate salts dissolve in water except lead and barium and calcium sulfate. Okay. The next point, method of preparing soluble salt. The first item here, preparing of soluble salts. There are four general preparing of soluble salt. When acid reacts with metal reacts with acid, or acid reacts with carbonate, or acid reacts with alkali, soluble alkali, or acid reacts with alkali, insoluble alkali. Again, metal reacts with acid, acid with carbonate, acid and alkali, and acid soluble alkali, and acid and alkali soluble in base. The first one, metal and acid. Metal and acid. This method used only for less reactive metal. Less reactive metal. The metal usually in this method are magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, and tin. They have a simple method. M for magnesium, A for aluminum, Z for zinc, I for iron, T for tin. Example, preparing of magnesium sulfate. Magnesium nitrate, sorry. Magnesium nitrate. Magnesium nitrate, formation of magnesium nitrate, we are going to make simple experiment to gain magnesium nitrate. Add, we have a beaker, okay, dilute nitric acid, HNO3, and add magnesium metal. There is a reaction between metal and acid. There is gas bubble erased. What this bubble erased is hydrogen. How can detect this hydrogen? By approach of lighting image. Here there is pop sound here. Okay, so the gas was produced is hydrogen gas. Then take this solution and filtrate. Why? To remove excess of magnesium metal. Then take this filtrate and make evaporation in petri dish. There is white crystal formed at the bottom of this petri dish. This is magnesium nitrate. Now understand this point. The next point, acid and carbonate. Reaction with acid and carbonate. Acid react with metal carbonate to produce salts. These salts are soluble salts. Like example of preparation of copper nitrate. Preparation of copper nitrate. The procedure here is the same. Copper carbonate react with nitric acid, produce copper nitrate and carbon dioxide and water. And the same, but copper nitrate with dilute acid, there is gas bubble arrays. In this case, the gas bubble here is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. How can detect carbon dioxide? By passing the gas through the water solution, it turned it to milky appearance. In this case, the reaction of the carbonate ion, here we are ionic equation like CO3 minus 2 plus H minus H positive 1 gives carbon dioxide and water. The third method, acid with alkali soluble base. Soluble base here is metal hydroxide. Metal hydroxide. Metal hydroxide. Okay, metal hydroxide. At the first, we should make neutralization to an acid. How? Listen to me carefully. At the first, give metal oxide, for example, sodium hydroxide in beaker, sodium hydroxide, then add indicator. It give pink color. Then add an acid drop by drop until the color of hydroxide solution disappear and become colorless. Then add the same volume of acid to the content again. Okay. Then take this solution to make slowly evaporation. There is white crystal found in the bottom of the petri dish. This is sodium chloride salt. Okay. The last one, acid and insoluble base. In this case, the acid react with metal oxide. The preceding the acid react with metal hydroxide, but in this method, metal oxide. At the first, we make titration on the transition of the sulfuric acid. The example here, formation of copper sulfate. Is the example here. It's formed by reaction between copper oxide and sulfuric acid. Neutralization at the first take place to sulfuric acid with copper oxide. Then the solution which produce can be evaporated slowly to obtain the salt as the preceding procedure. Now we are going to explain our lesson today, the method of preparing of insoluble salts. Method of preparing of insoluble salts. The method used to prepare insoluble salts need different techniques. Before we describe these techniques, in the first necessary to learn which salts are soluble and which salts are insoluble. This can be done by using the following rules of solubility. Just to be careful in this point, we know that all nitrates are soluble in water. All nitrates soluble in water. All common salt like sodium, potassium, and ammonium salt are soluble in water. All chloride, bromide, and iodine are soluble in water except lead, mercury, and silver. All of them, of chloride, bromide, and iodide, don't dissolve in water. All sulfates are soluble in water except lead, barium, calcium sulfates don't dissolve in water. All carbonate are insoluble. Is the reversal. All carbonate are insoluble except potassium, ammonium, sodium. So the potassium, ammonium, sodium carbonate soluble in water only. Okay? When you give you choose the correct answer, potassium carbonate, or true or false, potassium carbonate is a type of salt dissolved in water. Yes, true. Understand? Calcium carbonate, type of salt dissolved in water. False, not dissolved in water. Example for some metal or some salts that don't dissolve in water. Number one, testing different salts. Sometimes we want to analyze a salt and find out what is it. What is this? There are simple chemical tests which used to identify an anion part of the salt. These are often called spot tests. So what's the meaning of a spot test? Spot test is a chemical test used to identify the anion part of the salt. Just to be careful at this point. What's the meaning of spot test? The spot test is a chemical test, simple chemical test used to identify the anion part of the salt. What's the meaning of spot tests? Spot test is a chemical test used to identify the anion part of the salt. What's the meaning of anion part? Anion part like this equation. Is Yahya any question?
You were asking about the anion part.
Yes, I can answer.
Yes, the anion part is the negative charge
Negative
ions.
and positive.
The anodes are positive, I think. The anions are negative.
Okay. Cation is. I don't want ions or sorry ions at all. Not cation or ion. Listen to me. There is a space between here. Okay.
Okay.
And ions. Not positive only. I'm sorry. Listen to me. I wanted to explain or identify the anion, not anion and ion. Ions. There is a space between N and I. Okay.
Okay.
We need here to identify the positive and the negative ions found in chemical reaction. Like in this example, when I want to form barium sulfate, okay, by using barium chloride and sodium sulfate. So the positive ions here, barium, and the negative ions here is sulfate group, okay, to form barium sulfate. So I wanted to know what's the positive and the negative ions. So there is a space between N and ions, and there is S between S here. Okay, I wrote here this point and ions. Okay, not ions, iron. Okay, okay here. Test for sulfate group. We know sulfate group is simple as SO4 minus 2. SO4 minus 2. Example formation of barium sulfate. When the barium chloride acts with sodium sulfate to produce what? Precipitating. Listen to me carefully. Preparation of insoluble salts. It is a rule in these methods form precipitate PBT. What's the meaning of PBT? PBT meaning precipitating substance. Precipitating substance. So all chemical reaction or chemical method here in this point form PBT, precipitating substance. Formation of copper sulfate, barium sulfate for white precipitating of barium sulfate. This equation, this reaction can be represented by this equation. Barium chloride, sodium sulfate, give sodium chloride and barium sulfate. Barium sulfate is insoluble salt, has white color. So it is formed at the bottom of the test tube, okay, form white substance. The anion equation of this reaction, barium positive 2 react with ions of sulfate ions SO4 minus 2 to give barium sulfate, which white with visibility white. Anyone don't understand? If anyone don't understand this point, please raise your hand. All understand this point? Okay. The next point, testing for chloride and bromide and iodide. Okay, testing for chloride, bromide, and iodide. Example here, formation of silver chloride. Preparation of silver chloride. We need all chloride to solve in water except silver, mercury, okay, and lead. Don't dissolve in water. Example here, silver chloride. To suspect the chloride too small a volume to make aqueous nitric acidic solution. Then add silver nitrate to produce white precipitating of silver chloride. So any insoluble salt for precipitating. Precipitating, what's the meaning of precipitating? There is a substance formed at the bottom of the test tube. If left to stand, precipitating goes gray. So after reaction, there is white precipitating. Then this reaction turn to gray after a time. After a time goes the gray. Okay. The chemical reaction here, ionic chemical reaction, chloride ions, silver ions give silver chloride. silver chloride ions is negative, silver is positive, give silver chloride. In similar way, bromide and iodide will react to produce creamy precipitate of silver bromide. So when silver bromide salt is formed as creamy precipitating. It's a simple AgBr, silver bromide. But when iodide, silver iodide formed has yellow precipitating color. So silver chloride has white precipitating color, but it goes gray by a time. Silver bromide has creamy precipitating color. Silver iodide has yellow precipitating color. To differentiate between the precipitation of silver salts, make a table. Okay, salt and the color. Okay, silver chloride has white, silver bromide creamy precipitating, silver iodide has yellow color. Understand? Again, to form silver chloride is insoluble salts. When react with chloride ions form silver chloride, it is white precipitating material. When formed silver bromide, it is creamy precipitating salt. Silver iodide is yellow precipitating salt. Anyone has any question in this point? Okay. The last point, testing of carbonate. We know that all carbonate soluble in water, except all carbonate insoluble in water, except potassium, sodium. Okay. Example here, calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is don't dissolve in water. The test here, when amount of an acid added to suspected carbonate. This reaction produces carbon dioxide, like the experiment do with acid and metal carbonate. The production here is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, when pass through lime water, it turned it milky. So a cloud of white precipitating of calcium carbonate is formed. Calcium carbonate is formed. So calcium carbonate ions with hydrogen ion produce carbon dioxide and water. So the ionic equation can represent by the following: CO3 minus 2 plus 2H positive give CO2 and H2O. All carbonate are insoluble in water except potassium, sodium, and oxide and ammonia. Okay, this is our lesson today. If anyone don't understand any point, please raise your hand. Inshallah, there is a quiz at Thursday. I will give you a revision sheet tomorrow. Okay, to prepare yourself for quiz. Inshallah, tomorrow we will give you the revision sheet. Yes, Ahmed Adel.
Mister, the exam will come from the sheet or not?
Yes, from the sheet only.
Okay.
Okay, I will give tomorrow a revision sheet. Okay. Yeah. Anyone has any question? Okay. Goodbye and good luck. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.